So apparently God of War Ragnarok's release date has leaked. This is coming from Game Rant and it reads, possible God of War Ragnarok release date leaked by PlayStation. A PlayStation database listing potentially leaks the release date for the upcoming God of War Ragnarok, one of 2022's most highly anticipated games. There once was a time when God of War Ragnarok was expected to launch in 2021, but its release date was ultimately pushed back to an undetermined point in 2022. Hype is incredibly high for God of War Ragnarok, and this extra development time will no doubt result in a more polished and overall better experience for fans, though it's understandable that some are getting impatient to get their hands on the game. Sony hasn't provided any kind of release window for God of War Ragnarok, and has not narrowed down the game's release date beyond that it's expected to be coming at some point next year. However, a possible release date has since leaked online. Fans should take it with a massive grain of salt for now, but it appears as though the PlayStation database has potentially leaked the God of War Ragnarok release date. According to the leak, the God of War Ragnarok release date is September 30th, 2022. It's possible that this is just a placeholder date or is meant to mean that God of War Ragnarok is aiming to release sometime that quarter, but it's also possible that it's the real deal. It will likely be months before PlayStation fans find out if there's any truth to this leak, but if it is real, it would make a lot of sense. September 30th is a Friday, and new video game releases typically come out on Tuesdays and Fridays, so the leaked release date satisfies that requirement. Not only that, but an early fall release date would make sense for God of War Ragnarok. Fall is typically when game companies release their biggest games, and beyond that, it would put some distance between God of War Ragnarok and some of the other big PlayStation exclusives scheduled to release in 2022. The first major PS5 exclusive release is set to launch in February in the form of Horizon Forbidden West, and Sony isn't going to stop there. March will see the launch of Gran Turismo 7, and the Square Enix published Forspoken is set to drop in May as a timed PS5 exclusive. The first half of 2022 is already pretty busy for PlayStation, so it would stand to reason that the company would save God of War Ragnarok for the second half of the year instead. The God of War Ragnarok release date isn't the only potential release date that leaked from the PlayStation database. The potential Sonic Frontiers release date leaked online as well, so it seems that the PlayStation-sized Twitter account that shares this information regularly will be one to keep an eye on. You know, I know it does talk about the Sonic Frontiers game in this article, but I'm going to stick strictly to God of War Ragnarok. There was a lot of people saying that like they think that God of War Ragnarok will probably come out in like April of next year. And you know, if you would have told me that like a couple months ago, I would have thought, you know what, that makes sense, because I was thinking that we were going to get a PlayStation event this month, and we obviously didn't, you know. And with Horizon coming out in February and Gran Turismo coming out in March, that just doesn't make sense, you know. And also with Forspoken coming out in May. So even if this September 30th release date isn't real, the earliest we're going to get this game will be June. You know, which, I mean, I'd rather wait 6 months or 9 months than like a year and a half, you know. I've also heard some people saying that like maybe it'll come out like February or March of 2023, and I hope that doesn't happen, but if it does, 2023 is going to be a fantastic year for PlayStation fans. But this also does make sense because September 30th is a Friday, but it's also, I believe it's the very last day of the end of quarter 3 for Sony. So that kind of doesn't make sense, you know. So maybe it'll be like halfway through September, you know. I mean, obviously it will release on a Friday, but this might just be a placeholder date, which is kind of confusing because I feel like, you know, and correct me down in the comment section if I'm wrong, but I feel like every time a game or a movie has a placeholder date, like, isn't it always like December 31st of like whatever year it is? You know, like I don't think I've ever seen like a game or a movie have like a release date between like January and November, and it's like a placeholder date, you know. I mean, I could be wrong, but that's kind of weird if you ask me, you know. But I'm extremely excited for God of War Ragnarok, and yeah, hopefully it does come out next year. Hopefully it doesn't get delayed. I mean, I would love if it did come out in like April or maybe June, but it probably will come out sometime in holiday of 2022. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing if you're new. It really does help the channel grow. Until next time, guys, take care.